I think that's the biggest thing with PR or public relations is, just because it may look like something on social media, to kind of really do your research on the person and kind of see what scope of work have they been able to provide, who have they worked with.
I want to talk about branding a little bit. It seems like a lot of people are doing the same thing. What separates someone's brand from just someone else that is in the space?
They were so excited to see that, oh, Beyonce's getting paid $30 million for an hour to perform in the UAE, right? But my brain was like, well, who's able to pay her $30 million for an hour? So I did the research. So now I have those contacts. Relationships are everything. Attachment is what we're used to. Alignment is what God is trying to push us towards. I see people jump around and do multiple things. And there's nothing wrong with doing multiple things. I do multiple things. But you have to be consistent in what you're doing. If you don't have the numbers you want, figure out what's not working. Go back to the drawing board and stay in that same niche, but be consistent in what you're doing. It's ways to do multiple things in the same niche. People just are all over the place and they get frustrated because they're not yielding any results. Yeah. You have to be consistent in one thing and allow that one thing to drive traffic or drive revenue into the other things that you want to do.
Welcome to another edition of the Social Proof Podcast, where we find dope people that did dope stuff and continue to change the game. Today, we got Dr. Barnes in the building, man. What's up with you?
Oh my God, finally.
Finally.
Like, this has been like 365 days times 10.
100%.
Trying to get here,
but you're busy. You're busy.
I am.
I'll be here all the time. Don't we? We here working all the time. I actually don't like traveling.
Yeah. I don't mind traveling as long as it's not to LA. I just hate going to LA.
What you don't like about
I just
LA?
hate that flight. I feel like the fact that I'm traveling like 6 hours and I'm still in this country is a problem. Like, why am I still here?
Yeah,
like, it's crazy.
Yeah, that's a point.
That's a long flight for no reason. Like, when you think about that, so anywhere else I don't mind, but like anytime I have to travel for work and it's in LA, I'm automatically like disinterested.
Right. So let's talk about your work.
Okay.
What do you do?
And
for a long time, I didn't know exactly what you did because you just do the most in a good way. You're
sure.
just always on the scene. You're always working with people. So you can explain it.
Okay, so yes, I'm a publicist. So I do public relations, branding, partnerships. Like that's the meat and potatoes of my job. I work with a lot of well-known talent, a lot of well-known brands, but PR.
Okay, so this is going to be a good conversation because I actually hate PR. Mm-hmm. Everybody does it except for you.
You hate PR that...
I hate PR
you hate
people.
Public relations, because that's another thing. And we're going to, before we even get started, when somebody refers to themselves as a PR, you already know that they don't know what they're doing.
Why is that?
Because you cannot be a PR. Public relations is a service that's rendered by a publicist. So you can't be a service. So when somebody says, I'm a PR, so you're a public relations, that's very interesting to me. I didn't know that. But I think nowadays with social media, it's you can be anything you want to be on the internet, right? Sure. So a lot of times, especially in Georgia, child, it's like everybody's a publicist, and I have no problem with that. But I have a physical background, so my bachelor's degree is in English, have a master's degree in public relations and media management.
So you went to school for it?
Yeah, I went to school. I have practical experience in public relations, and then my doctorate's in educational leadership and supervision. So I have a background in what I'm doing. So that's like going to the doctor's office, right? You're not going to go to the doctor's office and allow someone to give your child a shot or operate on them without having practical or tangible experience. I think that's the biggest thing with PR or public relations is, just because it may look like something on social media, to kind of really do your research on the person and kind of see what scope of work have they been able to provide, who have they worked with. And I will say that public relations is a process, but just because it's a process doesn't mean that things or work shouldn't be getting done. Because that's what everybody's, it's a process. It is a process, but things should be being done within that process.
Where'd you go to school?
Virginia State.
For all of it?
For everything. I went to Virginia State. Yep. I was there. I never left. And I'm the youngest person to obtain a doctoral degree from Virginia State.
Really?
Ever in the school's history. Thank you.
Okay. And I liked it. So I'm starting off kind of in a not positive way intentionally because you're the real deal. And when you say Dr. Barnes, you know what I automatically think of? the people who get doctorates.
Oh, the honorary ones. The honorary.
Yo, I'm not gonna lie.
Oh God, please, can we talk about it?
Yes, 100%. Because it was, no.
What is it, like the Christian TCU Christian University? They give out those.
First off, I'm not putting nobody out there. Okay, I'm just saying there's a couple programs where you can get an honorary doctorate. And somebody asked me, they was like, "Yo, come, I give you a doctorate." And I was like, first off, I was like, yo, I went to school for 4 years total. Okay. I went to Alabama A&M for 2 years, no, 3 years. I went to Alabama A&M for almost 2 years. I think it was like 3 strong semesters because I took a semester off.
3 strong semesters, not the fourth semesters. One. Not really. Nah,
because I went for 2, and then I owed them some money, and they wouldn't let me come back.
Okay, yeah, financially,
and
I get it.
I had to work washing cars, and I saved the money and selling T-shirts and stuff like that. Anyway, so 3 semesters there. I did a year at Macon State.
Okay.
And I did a semester at Clayton State. I'm still a freshman though, first off. I'm laughing at like I thought it was the same.
You know, I was just about to ask you because you went to so many different schools and different levels. Like the credits transfer.
I have a whole lot to transfer. Like it's just
because there's a lot going on.
I was just in there anyway. So, but then somebody asked me, "Hey, I'll give you a doctorate."
No, I'll give it to you.
Word? I could be a doctor? And then something didn't seem right about it. And I'm not bashing it because there's something to it.
No, I get it.
I think celebrities get honorary doctorates. And I'm just thinking, okay, maybe I'm an influencer, celebrity type thing.
So to me, it's pros and cons to that. So from a philanthropy side, if you like with Diddy, right? Mm-hmm. If Diddy gets an honorary doctorate from Howard, okay, that would be acceptable because he went to school, he's done X amount of work for this year, this amount of years, and he's in that space. But because somebody has X amount of followers and they look like they got something going on or they got a blue check on social media, let me just give you a doctorate, like that's wild to me. Like that is so wild to me. And for me, if you understand the amount of work that I had to put in to get a doctoral degree, to be a part of that 1%, to defend and to write a dissertation and to go to do all of these different things and then just to have somebody give you a doctorate because of the amount of your followers, that's wild to me.
Yeah, and again, so I'm not bashing nobody because
you're not bashing. He's not bashing because he know wild people that got these honorary doctors. But I get it. It's okay.
Dang, okay. Man, you're gonna make them not like me now. You know what I mean? Or I'm not coming. I'm just saying. I didn't. It didn't resonate with my spirit. So I was like, nah,
it doesn't resonate with my spirit either.
So you actually went to Virginia State, got a doctorate.
David, why do you play so much? Like, what is wrong with you? Oh my goodness.
Okay, so and you said your doctorate is in organizational leadership.
Educational leadership. So I was a classroom teacher for 10 years. Yes, I was a classroom teacher for 10 years. I taught in Richmond Public Schools for 10 years. I was a middle school English teacher. I taught in a comprehensive setting and I taught in an alternative school setting. And all while being an educator, I was still doing media on the side. So it would be so funny because my students would be like, Miss Barnes, like you just do so much. Like I would teach and then on the weekends I'm at the BT Hip Hop Awards and they're like, oh, I see you with Black Youngster. Or I see you with such and such. So I was kind of like the cool teacher, not because of that, but also because I was one of those teachers. I really believe in building rapport, especially in an alternative setting. A lot of times in that space as an educator, I felt like you have to pick and choose your battles. Like, so if I'm already working in a space and Johnny's coming to school, it's like, okay, he don't have a book bag, he don't have a pencil, but he's here, right? So he wants to be here. So as a teacher, I wasn't one of those catty picking on you. Like if he want to listen to NBA Youngboy, he doing his work. He's here. So I was a classroom teacher for 10 years, administrative dean. I was on the Virginia Department of Education committee where I helped create the English SOL like curriculum for the state of Virginia. I was like one of the youngest people on the board for cultural competency and DEI, diversity and inclusion for the state of Virginia. So I did a lot in that space before transitioning to being a full-time entrepreneur. So it's so many different things that I've been able to do in such a short period of time. And I think it's big to be able to talk about these things because a lot of times people don't know, like you said, you see people in these rooms or you kind of know what they do, you don't know what they do, you see that they're around, but we're working. Like I'm not around just to be around, like we're working for sure.
Your doctorate means something. First off, I'm gonna stop calling you Rashae. I'm calling you Dr. Barnes. You earned that.
Definitely earned it.
Yeah, Dr. Barnes, you earned it, man. Okay, so you are a
publicist.
What'd you call? So main title, publicist. Yes. And what do you do? Because I see you with a lot of like celebrities and influencers and stuff like that.
Partnerships.
What are you doing for these people?
Yes. So like when Vina was on the show, Pretty V, that's one of my clients. For somebody like that, the biggest thing for helping to build a person's brand, a publicist, their main role is publicity. So to keep the client relevant, whether it's in print, ad, radio, partnerships. You know, Vina at the time, she was doing a deal with City Trends. She still has a deal with City Trends. Bel Air is one of the brands that you know that I work really, really closely with. Being able to, like, she has a magazine cover shoot tomorrow. And just being able to keep these people relevant in high level places. Like we just were at the VMAs last week. Before that, last week, 2 weeks ago, I was in LA with Cynthia Bailey. I did a retreat for her called Relax and Rejuvenate.
You say you did a retreat for her. What do you mean?
I put the retreat together.
Oh,
so
wow.
like, yeah, event execution is something I do as well.
Yeah, that's why it's hard for me to connect you with a publicist, because you do
so
stuff
many
that
different
a
things.
publicist don't
Yeah.
do.
So public relations, but the partnership side too, like the sponsorships, the partnerships, the branding, like getting, putting her with Mael, doing a deal with Mael. So we're doing the billboards, we're doing the partnerships, we're doing, product placement. So I did the retreat for Cynthia Bailey, and what we did was, it was me and the team of women, 50 like high profile women, corporate women, executives, being able to just come together in an intimate space and just relax. So the name of the retreat was Relax and Rejuvenate. So I did that 3 weeks ago. We have Revolt Summit this weekend. Have 3 clients doing Revolt.
Real quick. Revolt World, right?
Revolt World.
First off, I don't know what it is though.
Do you know why they're calling it Revolt World instead of Revolt Summit?
I don't even know what it is. If I'm being honest, I like the fact that they built some hype and energy around it, but I have no idea. I'm going.
That's sad. And it's 3 days away. So Revolt, shout out to Revolt. Hey, Detavio. I love Detavio. That's my brother. But with Revolt World, basically what it is, they used to have the Revolt Summit, which used to be solely focused on music. Last year, it was more like entrepreneur based. Like you had a lot of like different entrepreneurs on panels. So it's like a 2-day festival that has panels, workshops, vendors, kind of similar to what's going on, but they're calling it Revolt World this year because the Sunday is focused more on international like artists, the Afro beats that. So I guess that's why they changed the name from Revolt Summit to Revolt World. So that's this weekend. My client is hosting. So that's when I say with deals and partnerships.
Who's your client?
Pretty V.
Oh, Pretty V's hosting. Okay.
She's hosting this weekend. Queen is on a panel. Queen Naja's on an R&B panel. And then Trina's doing something as well, The Great Debate, on that Friday.
Why don't I be getting no invitations to this kind of stuff?
You do get invitations.
No, I don't. No, they be trying to give me a ticket, but why don't they book me to do something?
Why? I don't know. Why don't they?
You need to ask Diddy.
I will. We got to figure that out.
Sean, Love. Why you don't invite me, bro? I always get like a little ticket. Somebody give me a ticket to come, and I'm like, all right, I'll bring my wife, but I need some invitations.
But you're always invited because I always see you.
I don't want an invitation to show up. I want an invitation to host something.
You want to be on the panel. You want to talk.
Something.
We need a social proof live at Revolt World.
That's what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
And are you saying this is not happening because I don't have a publicist?
You don't like them.
I don't like them. I don't like none of y'all except for Dr.
for me.
Barnes. Yeah, because you be
the ones
busy.
because you know what it is. It's the few that work. You got to work.
Yeah.
Like and another thing is I don't really have a desire to be the talent. Like wherever I show up, my personality is going to show regardless. So like that's just kind of how it is. But that's another thing too. A lot of the PRs want to be the talent. So if that's really what you want to do, just say that instead of just using that as a way to get you in the space. You know what I'm saying? That's what it is. Like you don't want to be a publicist.
Yeah, you trying to. There was a dude that was doing PR for me. He was a publicist, and
I'm gonna laugh. I can already tell.
Yo, no, it's not. It's not gonna be, it was just he did get me on a panel or something like that. And he was on that joint too. He was hosting it. I'm like, yo, how? Okay,
now it makes
sense. Out of control.
Now I see. Now I see what's going on. Now
okay.
I see. But besides the public relations, the branding, the partnerships, I'm really heavy in the funding space as well. So September, I recently created a national holiday. September 30th.
What do you mean?
I created a national holiday. So September 30th is National Black Funding Day.
How do you do that?
you go through a process. You create like a proposal on why the day is needed, why it needs to be highlighted. You submit it through National Archives, and they approve it or they denied it.
Somebody hit me this year and said they had National Podcast Day. You heard of that? Somebody must have submitted their joint.
Yeah, so September 30th is National Black Funding Day, and the whole premise of National Black Funding Day is to highlight the inequalities and disparities that Black and brown entrepreneurs face when trying to access capital for our business. So when I look at Social Proof and I look at Morning Meetup and I look up everything that you and Donnie been able to do collectively, but individually as well, I can almost 95% guarantee that almost everything that you guys done from the beginning of your career was self-funded.
100%.
Self-funded, right? And not self-funded because the funds aren't available, self-funded because of the capital accessibility. So that's the whole point of National Black Funding Day, is to highlight the inequalities and disparities that we face. So in 2022, out of the $40 billion that was allotted in venture capital to businesses, less than 3% of that was to Black and brown businesses, and less than 1% of that was to females and minorities. So when we start looking at statistics, if I'm in school and I get a 3%, that means you didn't even try.
Yeah.
3%, you didn't try. 1%, you didn't try.
Yeah.
So we have to highlight what's going on through Social Proof, through Fearless Fund, through EYL, through Harlem Capital, through Greenwood, and through everything that everybody's doing. Highlight the movers and shakers in the space that are doing phenomenal, right? But it's also a call to action to these major companies, to the Visas, to the all these major companies that say they have DEI, which is diversity and inclusion, incorporated in their budget. You say you have it, but where are the funds? So that's the whole point of the day. Because besides that, I also have a women's fund. I don't think you know that I have a women's fund, Eval's Equity. So Eval's Equity is a women's fund that I have, and we raise, it's a fund to fund, so it's not a VC. So it's a fund to fund. We raise funds to give away in the form of grants to Black female entrepreneurs. Eval's Equity. And Eval's Equity, our slogan is where opposition meets opportunity. And Eval's backwards spells slave. Because as a slave, you were always faced with opposition and you never had any opportunity.
Dang.
Yeah.
That's real. I like that.
Yeah.
You're doing something great in our world. Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
thank you.
So let's get to this reason why I'm not booked for stuff, okay? When does a person need a publicist?
Okay. I feel like a person, when a person needs a publicist, when it gets to the point where brands and different things are reaching out to you and you no longer have the manpower to kind of do it on your own. And I feel like when you get to a certain point in your career and you feel like you want to scale, like I think like with Social Proof, I think with you guys, what Social Proof is doing, there's no way that you can't partner with like an Amazon or, a Dove or Unilever or a major company.
You know them?
Yeah, I'm actually Amazon. Shout out to Amazon. Amazon is one of the partners that I'm working with for National Black Funding Day. Amazon AWS, which is Amazon Web Services. I'm working with them. Shout out to my sister Tiffany over at Amazon Web Services. She's actually helping, and that's a company that I can tell that we're going to build a long-lasting relationship because they really believe in Black entrepreneurs and what we're doing. So it's two sides to that. You have Amazon BBA, which is the Black Business Accelerator Program, which my girlfriend Tiffany actually helped create. And she single-handedly got Amazon to pledge $150 million in 2021 to Black and brown entrepreneurs to their businesses. So they have the business, they have the BBA, which is the accelerator program. And then Amazon Web Services, AWS, is more like the tech side of things through Amazon. So partnering with them, just had a meeting with Google like 3 weeks ago to do some stuff with Google.
So you can give me some money?
Yeah, we got to figure this out.
Can you get me some money?
This is the thing. That's another thing I'm not going to do because people lie. Okay, we can figure something out. Because that's another reason why people don't like to work with publicists. Is because
I just want to tell you, the figure something out is triggering a little bit because people ask me, they're like, "Yo, let me get on a podcast." You know what I say? We gonna figure something out.
Oh my goodness. Okay, I think with Social Proof, I think the biggest thing is creating a capabilities deck and just kind of going from there
What do you mean capabilities?
A capabilities deck. So in public relations, you have EPK, we have your electronic press kit, and we'll have a regular deck, which is for you to pitch. But a capabilities deck it is exactly what it says. It's a capabilities deck. So it shows your capabilities. So on there to show like who we are as Social Proof, what we do, our audience, our reach, qualitative and quantitative research based off of what we've been able to do as a company. And then
real quick, I'm so sorry. Only because Tanny doesn't understand qualitative versus quantitative. Can you explain what that means?
And then case studies.
Okay.
You gotta have case studies too. So quantitative, the numbers, qualitative, narrative, storytelling. So being able to tell stories through Social Proof, and then showing statistics that kind of back up the stories that you're telling. And case studies. So Black Equity Con for you would be a case study. Social Proof podcast, the podcast summit that you guys did, that's a case study. The alumni event that you do for your people, those are all case studies. So you're showing what it is, the objective and your results. And then you put that together and you send that out to different companies to partner with you.
Are you the person that sends it out?
I am the person who sends it out.
You'll send it out?
I am the person who sends it out because I'm the person who I have the contacts.
Mm-hmm. What is a good number that someone would pay for a good publicist?
It just depends. I think it just depends on you as a person and the budget. Like if it's an individual person or if it's a brand. So
individual.
So
what would I be? Individual or a brand?
I mean, you're a brand, but if I'm doing PR for the David Shands brand, or am I doing PR for Social Proof? Because that's two separate entities.
What's more expensive?
Social Proof.
So doing it for the brand is more like it requires
doing it for
more
a company will be more because it's going to require me to do more versus me doing it for an individual. Because with you, I'm pitching you to magazines, I'm pitching you to media outlets, I'm pitching you to television shows, and then understanding too that all press is not organic. Some people pay for press. Like sometimes you have earned media and you have paid media. A lot of times when you look at, like, you might get on Shave Room or Spiritual Word or Neighborhood Talk, and you're like, how is this person on here? Or why is this? And it comes across as an ad, but it doesn't say ad. Yeah. That's paid press. Right. But in the beginning stages of someone's career, like, I don't think that's bad. You know what I mean? Because it's still getting you publicity.
Yeah, for sure.
And then it's clickbait, being able to trigger that person from that page over to your page, what can ultimately convert into a sale, a new client, a new customer. Because everything is about conversion. You want to be able to convert to something, whether it's a new customer, a new client, something. So I think a good starting fee for someone who wants to pay for a publicist is like no less than like $4,500 a month, depending on what that person needs to do for them.
You need a publicist? Yeah. $4,500, you probably get a good one. You with it? I'm with it. He's with it.
Yeah.
You know somebody good?
I do. I can recommend you. Send that later.
Okay. Yeah. For sure. Okay, so $4,500. And I think my first publicist, I might have paid her like $2,000 or something like that. And this was years ago.
Okay. And that's on the low end, just to be.
That's the low end.
Yeah, just starting. Remember we said starting.
Yeah.
Because my thing is, and that's another thing with the client too. When you're hiring for services, when you're hiring for someone's services, you should already have a budget in mind, what you want to spend as a client, but also have realistic expectations for yourself. Don't hire someone and say, okay, boom, because I went viral on the Shave Room, now I want to be in Forbes.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, huh? You want to be in Forbes?
So let me ask you this. So Terry, I don't want to use this example, but say somebody is not anybody, but they have an extreme talent and they don't have a whole lot going on, but they got a little something going on.
What do you mean not anybody? Like they're not Instagram famous.
They're not Instagram famous.
Those are the people I like to work with because those are the people who have budget.
Or they ain't got no budget either.
I can't help you. You got no budget. My man says rates.
But they have an extreme talent. They have a talent, or they have a good product or something like that.
But if they have a good product, then they would have a budget. Because if you had a good product, it would be selling.
Not necessarily. Some people have a good product. Or let's say the product is my ability to get on stage and kill it and speak.
Okay.
I want to get more speaking gigs.
Yes.
would a publicist help me, or I just need to go straight to a booking agent or something?
No, you need a publicist, but I don't think it would hurt you having a publicist and an agent as well, because your agent is not going to be compensated unless they book you for something.
Yeah.
So you can have an agent and you can have a publicist. So that way you're in two different lanes at the same time.
Gotcha. It seems like you work primarily with celebrity, though.
I mean, because for the most part, that's the type of clientele that reaches out to me. But I'm not opposed to working with someone who has a brand that everyone doesn't know, because that's my job. If everyone doesn't know you, to get everyone to know who you are.
Yes, so that's my point.
Absolutely.
A person who isn't known, and they're hoping that once people see who they are,
For sure.
they'll be celebrity, no problem. And they hire you, and you pitch this person to magazines, interviews, stuff like that.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
But sometimes people don't want to be celebrities. That's another thing too. Sometimes people just want their product to be out there. Sometimes everybody doesn't want to be famous. I get people who reach out to me all the time, and the biggest thing is, they just want brand awareness.
Yeah.
How can I, with my budget, how can I achieve more brand awareness? So with that, you might do like influencer campaigns or TikTok campaigns. Like I have a client right now, Brown Sugar Babe. It's a body oil company. She has like one of the most successful body oils in the country, and a lot of people don't know who the CEO is, but they're familiar with the brand when they see the brand, because the brand is so amazing. It's a luxury body oil company, and she focuses on like dupes of luxury oil. So like everybody not be able to spend $275 on a Baccarat perfume, but you can spend $50 on a body oil. So people like that, I like working with those type of brands. I like working with those type of clients, because at the end of the day, for me, it's not about working with someone because they're a celebrity, or, you know what I mean? I think celebrities nowadays is subjective, because like, what is a celebrity nowadays? Like, what is, like, I'm not gonna say anybody's name, but listen to the music. That's like, ooh. Like that's what we're promoting. Those are the type of people that we're making quote unquote famous. So a lot of people don't care about that. It's really just about being able to get their brand out so the product can convert to sales.
Gotcha.
That's the biggest thing.
All right. Tanny has a dope podcast, and he's branding himself as the podiologist. It's really cool.
Oh, potty yaddy yaddy yaddy.
You feel me? He getting a podcast. Something, he had like a white doctor suit. It was dope. It stood out. He had the hat thing and everything. So,
I like that, Dr. Sue.
Let's say that he comes to you and says, hey, I need a publicist. I want to grow my brand. What's the first conversation you're going to have? Actually, can we give him the mic real quick? Can we give him the mic?
He's like, wait a minute. You put me on
spot. Because I want to take somebody who's just
for sure.
You know what I mean? Like,
for sure.
Try to get some motion, talented brother.
Love that.
So what is the first conversation you're going to have with him?
Well, for me, the first question I would ask is, what are your brand goals? So it's September 2023, right? It's 3 months left in the year. We're in the fourth quarter. Where do you see your brand within the next?
Well, maybe not, because I don't know when this is going to air.
Okay, so we shouldn't say dates. Okay, it'll probably be Christmas.
All right, so it's September 2025.
Okay,
guys. And we got three.
We're in one of these months that's going to be close to the end of the year. Right. But my biggest question would be to you: what are your main goals for your brand? Like, where do you see yourself in the next 3 to 6 months? And with those questions, where do you see yourself in the next 3 to 6 months? What is the biggest struggle that you feel like that your brand is facing that you can't do on your own?
All right, answer this. What you got?
That's a phenomenal question. For 3 to 6 months is really grow the production side. So we really focus. I've always been a podcast producer, so I just recently started being front facing as far as getting my, my brand out there. So my biggest thing would be exposure as far as just letting people know there's an easier way to start a podcast and really grow that side of it. I feel like the other part of it will kind of come with time, just because we have so much going out there as far as content. So building the awareness around the production side of the brand.
So for me, my brain, like what he just said, is two things that I automatically think about when he just said it's easy ways to start a podcast, right? So for me, thinking about something that can convert while you're trying to make money to try to do the podcast, it's easy ways to start a podcast. So that right there, that's an ebook. That's something that you can create to help with your sales right now. Easy way to start a podcast. And then the production side, how to produce a podcast. So a production like handbook or something that you can promote to other producers who already have existing podcasts, like an easy step-to-step guide on how to produce a podcast. So now you have something for the consumer and something for the person who's producing as well.
Absolutely.
Gotcha. All right.
Wow, that's awesome. When can you start?
All right. So your first thing is you're gonna shape his offering.
The goals, because we need to know what we're working on.
Yes.
So the main thing is what are the goals? So that way I know when I create, because every client is different. So they tell you what they want to work on, and then we have to create a strategic plan based off of their timeline. So I know that each week, like every week, my clients get a action plan from me every Monday.
Yeah.
And every Monday, these are our action items for the week. These are our goals that we need to meet for the week, whether it be, all right, I need to pitch you to 20 media outlets in this niche this week. I need to land you at least one article this week, and we need to be submitting you to at least 3 or 4 conferences. That's for that week. And if we go into the next week, if those action items weren't completed, why weren't they completed, and what can we do moving forward? So that way there's no gray area. I like to over communicate with my clients, so that way there is no room for confusion, because I feel like when you're paying for a service, I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's $500 or $10,000 a month. There should be a clear, concise plan, and there should be communication on a daily basis. So, but before you can do anything, action plan has to be created, because I have to know what your goals are, and then that way we know how we can move forward.
Gotcha. All right. So we're shaping his, you understand his goals, and based on his goals, you got to shape that, because that might take a month.
Yeah.
Of like shaping the offer.
Admin stuff. Admin stuff, because then you have to do a photo shoot. Your press kit has to be created. You know, we have to make sure that we have a website. That's another thing too. A lot of people have brands and they're promoting things, but there's nowhere to delegate traffic.
Yeah.
Like you have to have somewhere to be able to delegate your traffic. So if you have a podcast, and even if the podcast is not up and running yet, at least have a landing page.
Yeah.
Something that people can go to and Google you, or something has to come up, because now it makes you credible. If you're saying I've been doing X, Y, and Z for however long and I can't look it up, it's a red flag.
Yeah.
It's like the honorary doctorate. It's a red flag. It's a red flag for me. So for sure.
All right. So first we identify their goal, help shape their offering. Then you got to clean up the visual presentation.
You got to do a shoot. You got to do like some type of photo shoot, content shoot, and all that. Because I can't pitch you with pictures from Instagram.
Yeah.
Like I don't.
Or that same picture they've been using for the last 7 years.
Like even with me, like people reach out to me. I'm not even gonna lie. I do need to do an updated shoot job. So. I need an updated content shoot. I recently cut my hair off, and then I had to get different. Like it's a little something going on, right? So like when people reach out to me, like I'd recently like MSNBC reached out because of everything that was going on with the Fearless Fund, and they kind of asked me, because I'm in that same space, like what is your, what is your take on what's going on with the lawsuit and da-da-da-da. And they were like, okay, well, can you send us a photo and photo credit for the picture? I'm like, damn, I done used this photo 50 times. I need an updated photo shoot. But and that right there can be a delay, because it takes time to set up a content shoot. Like, within the first month, it might take you 2.5 weeks to set up your content shoot. So now we're going into month 2 already. So it's just so many different things that have to be done at the beginning, so that way we can kind of be like consistent throughout the process.
So I'm just setting expectation for people who are looking to get a publicist or someone to help them, that it's not like, all right, I'm about to sign your contract right now. You're my publicist, and tomorrow you're going to get me on Revolt World. Yeah. There's a process.
It's a process. And you have to have realistic expectations. Like it might be a client where, I might work with somebody, and then 2 months later, I might land them a deal with Burger King, or we might land a deal with Unilever or Dove or someone, but that's solely based off of the client and, what they're already doing and who they are, and kind of going from there.
Just a side note, I use Dove.
Okay.
Body wash and the Dove for Men
collection.
Deodorant.
Okay.
So I use a lot of Dove, because you mentioned Dove a lot, which means I think you got a relationship with them. But I'm a client.
And Mael. You use Mael?
I would.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But I'm just saying, I'm letting you know.
For sure. Got you, bro. Got you.
You know what I mean? Okay. All right. So first off, so you're not $4,500.
It depends. So that's like to start.
Okay.
David is like.
What does it go up to though? Like
a lot.
A lot, for sure.
I've done. I'm not gonna put no numbers out there, but we've done a lot. I've done a lot of stuff.
Got it. Well,
I've been able to work on a lot of projects. Like I've worked on like when Kanye did the Donda album release, like the Yeezy team reached out to me and I worked on that project, and within like 24 hours we were able to get Yeezy screening sessions in like 70 states within like a 24-hour period.
Really?
Yeah. Like when they were streaming at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium, like they called me and was like, hey, like, you know, we want to work. And that was through a relationship that I had with a good friend of mine who was like, look, we need to work on this project together. And that's another thing too. Partnerships. Don't be a gatekeeper. One thing about me, I am a woman's woman. I am a people. Like if it makes sense, when I feel like once we start reaching to a certain level in our career, a lot of people don't feel like this, but I feel like it is our duty to educate and help people that want to be in the spaces and places that we're in, and not just be in these rooms and not just be here because it looks good for social media. Because on social media, everybody has a Lambo, everybody got a Ferrari, everybody got, you know, a pink slip. But that's not realistic for everyone. You know what I mean? Sure. And everybody doesn't want that. Yeah. You know what I mean? So just being realistic with, you know, I tell people all the time, it doesn't hurt me to scoot over if I already have a seat at the table.
That's a fact.
Like that is something whenever I go out and I speak or I talk to people, I always say it never hurts to scoot over when you have a seat at the table already, because what happens if you gotta go up and what happens if you gotta go to the bathroom? Yeah. You lost your seat being selfish. Now you don't got nobody to hold your seat. You need a placeholder. Yeah, so just kind of just being in that space and just being. And another thing is always, no matter what you do, just be organic and be yourself from the beginning. Because that's another thing I see, that when you're yourself from the beginning, it's easy to remain yourself. It's hard to be something that you're not if you're not that from the beginning. Yeah. So just being authentic and just ask for help. No one knows everything. Even though I've been doing this for a while, I know that I don't know everything. And I think that's why I've been able to grow at the rate that I've been able to grow. Because I'll sit in the rooms with executives from Amazon or JP Chase Morgan, or, you know, some of the, like, you know, I have connection with, like, you know, the Robert Smiths and these people, and the people and places that I've been able to sit in the rooms that I've been able to sit in. It's always and only because I've been able to be authentically myself, but always and only because I know that I don't know everything. Yeah.
My thing is, do you do all this stuff yourself?
So up until recently, I haven't, like, and that's another thing too, you can't scale without a team. Yeah. Like I have an executive assistant, shout out to Bree. I have the best executive assistant. Bree is amazing. Like last week, I was just in New York for New York Fashion Week. We were hired to do the Fashion Bomb Daily Show. Claire gave us that opportunity, and Claire Summers from Fashion Bomb Daily. She has like the largest fashion platform when it comes to like African American people in the form of flash fashion. I think her platform is like 2.5 million. But basically what it is she posts like fashion, like outfits and purses and stuff from our community, like highlighting Black and brown designers and what's it in fashion. But we were hired to do the fashion show, and when we had the executive call, she was like, I'm not gonna be honest, I'm not gonna lie to you. She was like, I underestimated the presence of media. She said, this is the most media that we've ever had at our show. And I came on in the 10th hour. I went from attending the show to producing the talent, the media and all of that for the show. And I had like Vogue, I had E! News, I had AOL, we had TMZ, Hot 97, and some of like the largest media platforms in the world.
And this is calling them saying, hey, you need to show up at this event.
Yes, these are all relationships.
So is it just you and your executive assistant?
Me, my executive assistant, I have 2 junior publicists and a graphic designer, and we're constantly growing. Yeah, but for the most part, I'm very meticulous on the pitches. Like when stuff goes out, everything still I need to see what it's like. I need to see, because nowadays everybody got AI, AI is writing everything. I need to see it. Yeah. Because I need to see what's going out.
Here's the thing. I can be territorial.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Jealous. Yeah. So you've been rocking with Pretty V, and she's at an event, and I'm like, oh, she booked. Well, I ain't booked, Dr. Barnes. Mm-hmm. And
it gets like that.
It does, right?
It does, but then you have to understand that you have to know your publicist and you have to know your client. And everything is not for everybody. Every opportunity is not for everybody. So like I might have Vina attend the VMAs, but I might have Queen perform.
So Queen's your client too?
Queen Naja, yes. I love Queen, yes.
And what do you do for her?
I'm a publicist.
I'm saying, like, what are some of the things?
Same thing. Branding, public relations, the partnerships. We're working on some stuff. She has some new music about to come out soon. So, you know, we're working on that. And it's a process. It's a process. But that's one thing that I want to share to people, whether you are an aspiring publicist or you're aspiring to be in media, to understand that this is a process and it takes time to get here. At the beginning, you're not charging $5K, whatever you're charging a month. I remember when I was charging $900 a month, and I was okay with that. But as your team grows and as your brand grows, you have to be able to scale. So you're not going to be able to you can't do that as your brand grows. So just understanding that as well.
So, okay, now this picture
because even you, really quick, I remember when we did, and I have to give you your flowers while we're on camera. Shout out to you and Social Proof and everything that you guys are doing, because when we did Vina's episode, that was in the other building. We didn't have all of this.
Yeah.
This is fancy. Like we got hand painted people on the wall, and that's the big Steve Harvey too. That's the original Steve Harvey.
100%.
Ellen,
absolutely.
You know, Jerry. Okay, yeah. Dave. I see you, Dave. So I'm just proud of what you guys have been able to accomplish, because, you know, it takes time, and that's what we want to. It takes time, and it takes time because you're building your audience. You're constantly putting out content, but a big piece of that is the capital accessibility part that we talked about earlier. Yeah. When you have to, people got to pay. Look, morning meetup, even the morning meetup, make sure you paying your dues in the morning meetup. Make sure you paying your stuff, because what people don't understand is, when you do that, I'm able to grow my brand for you, so I can have access to bigger things and bigger opportunities for your community. Yeah. So make sure y'all pay your stuff on time.
That is a fact, because I think as we all are showing up and we are all there, I'm able to introduce more people.
For sure.
It's pretty cool.
For sure.
And now it makes sense, because you were asking me about Queen Naija, or like you'll send me like, yo, I think this would be a good person for your show. Is that you doing your publicist thing? And it don't feel like a pitch. Just be like, oh, this supposed to be good.
Hey,
okay,
hey,
that
bro.
makes sense.
Hey, bro, I think we should get Queen on the show. Or hey, I think we should go da-da-da. But I'm able.
Is that your?
Yeah, that's my client. Yes, that's who I'm going to see when I leave here. Yes. She's amazing too. We got to talk about her, but we'll talk about that. But another thing about that is, I'm able to do that with you in this manner because of the relationship that we have, right?
Yeah.
I couldn't do that with somebody that I didn't have a relationship with, that I'm just trying to get on a podcast. I can't, like, who is this girl? Like, no, send us an email. We don't know who you are, but everything is relationship based. I can say, okay, hey, boom, like, let's get such and such. Like, even when I was working with Milan, I was pitching Milan, and then now she's a freak. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That was before. So everything is relationship based. And that's another thing that I want people to understand is, relationships are everything. Everything doesn't have to be transactional in the form of money.
Facts. It shouldn't be.
It shouldn't be transactional. And then sometimes, and I'm good for this, like Dave will tell you, I don't even when I text him, it's not even like about, oh bro, what's going on? Like, it's not, it doesn't have to always be about what can you do for me. Facts. Or how can I help you? He'll tell you like, hey Shay, I need help with X, Y, and Z. Okay, let me see who I know. Let me see who I can plug in. Let me see what brand, I'll be quick. All right, you need a deck. Oh, I do. I'm like, I'll give you a deck. I'll create you a deck. I won't, that's just because that's our relationship.
100%.
So we just have to make sure that, everything is not transactional in the space, and you're just organic in what you're doing, and
100%.
you'll be able to grow.
All right. So I want to talk about branding a little bit. It's everybody. It seems like a lot of people are doing the same thing. And from your expert opinion, what separates someone, that there's a bunch of people in a space, what separates someone's brand from just someone else that is in the space, pretty much?
For me, I think being authentic, because I think in a space where so many people seem like they're doing the same thing, you can kind of feel like when you're having conversations or you're looking at things, if it's like organic or if it's not. Like, that's another thing too, when working with clients, like not just being accessible to everybody that wants to work with you. And that's why I love Vina, and she it's not about the money or the brand, because it's like, okay, this brand might offer $100K to do X, Y, and Z, but if it doesn't align with the brand, it doesn't make sense.
Hold on, do people be offering $100K to do X, Y, and Z?
Yeah, for sure. I'm not going to say who the client is.
Yeah, you don't have to, but I'm saying
No, I'll give you an example.
I think it's a really cool idea that you
I'll give
access to someone that will pay your client $100,000 to do X, Y, and Z.
Yes.
Let me ask you, do you, as a publicist, do you get a percentage of that?
So I will get a commission off of, Yeah, that's all about how you write your contract up. So you'll get a retainer, and then mine would be a retainer plus 10% of anything that I bring to the table, as far as a branding deal or a partnership.
I need 10%.
Yeah.
I need 10%.
Yeah. And if we're doing a deal, if it's $500K or $1 million off of, that's a good little 10%. I'll give you an example. I'm not gonna say who the client is because their team messed this deal up, and that's another thing too. I see this so much with like artists and labels, and sometimes you have managers or people in those like high positions that if it's not something that they brought to the table, or if it's something that they really don't want to do, they don't even really let the client know what really be going on behind the scenes, and they mess up so many huge opportunities behind the door. Like I had a deal on the table for a client. It was a $1.2 million posting situation where this company wanted them to post 2 posts a month, attend a party because they would have been the face of this particular product, and come to like something for the anniversary sale. So that's like $100K a month to post twice.
Goodness gracious.
And the manager kind of messed up the deal because they weren't communicating as effectively as the company wanted them to.
Which could be a sign that
they're not really interested, or that, you know, every time they would reach out or we would have meetings, it would be, oh, let me get back to you, or they're doing this, or they're currently on tour, or they're doing this and they're doing that. And me personally, to this day, I still don't even think that the client knows what happened. I don't think that they know what happened, because it's happened with this client multiple times when I've reached out to them for like different deals and different partnerships. But having a strong team and then knowing what's going on. Like I had a client reach out to me like recently talking about some different stuff that they were going through about their finances. Like, you know, never give someone that much control over your finances either. Like always know what's going in and coming in out of your account. As well. So that's a whole nother conversation. But yeah, just making sure that you have a strong team and people around you that you can trust. Because it's like 2 posts, $100K. Like I don't care how much money I ever make. I'm never turning down. I don't, because to me it just doesn't make sense. I don't care if it's 5K, 25. If it makes sense, we scooping it up.
Yeah.
25K, 500, like we could go to the auction. Now we about to get we talk about real estate. Like that's the whole, like when we know what we can do with the opportunities that we presented to ourselves, because let's be very realistic. We're so blessed. We live in a time where, you know, it's so many people that don't have jobs. Like when you look at the writer's strike, and that's another thing. Like you look at the writer's strike, and, you know, some of your favorite actors and actresses are out of a job right now. And, you know, we're able to create an income for ourselves on a weekly basis. Yeah. People don't have that opportunity. So I don't take anything for granted. And I told myself personally in this season moving forward, I just want to be obedient. Just be obedient, and then understanding that there's a difference from attachment and alignment. That's huge. That's huge, because and for me, attachment is what we're used to. Alignment is what God is trying to push us towards. But we're not able to be aligned to what God is trying to give us, because we're so attached to one thing. So we have to really understand the difference between attachment and alignment, and then also heighten your discernment in the season, because everybody can't go.
I like that. All right, I'll get closer to wrapping it, but there's so many things that I want to know. Like, what are these companies looking for out of these people? And is it just numbers? I'm looking for a follower count or engagement, or I'm looking for are there some companies that are looking for undiscovered talent who has a personality, who can be the face of my brand? In these meetings that you're having, what are these corporations looking for? So on a corporate level, I think the biggest thing that I see that's like a reoccurring trend is they want to be able to work with somebody that's going to convert. And that comes from looking at that person's analytics, what they're doing, trends. So like if you have like a beauty influencer and you see on their TikTok or on their Instagram that they're able to organically on their own have 5 million or 10 million impressions, and that's without the backing of, you know, like a big company like a Mayel, or like a big company with like, you know, Curl Days or whatever. Like you have these major beauty brands. If they're able to do that on their own, imagine if they have the backing or the exposure from a major company. Right. So they're looking at it from that point, because they're like, without me, you're able to do this already. So imagine what you'll be able to do with me. So I see numbers plays a huge game, especially like with partnerships and with like the music side too, streams. Like everybody's looking at streams. So that's why now you'll look at different companies and you'll be like, well, how did this person get, like, who is this? Like, we might not know who they are, but it's like number wise, they have, you know,
crazy numbers. So that it's a numbers game for the most part.
So the people who don't have the numbers, is all hope lost?
I think anything could be redeemed. I don't think it's all hope lost. I think that if it's something you want to do, I'm going to say this before I leave because it's on my heart to say, because I see people jump around and do multiple things. And there's nothing wrong with doing multiple things. I do multiple things. But you have to be consistent in what you're doing. That is the biggest thing for me, is consistency. If you don't have the numbers you want, figure out what's not working. Go back to the drawing board and stay in that same niche, but be consistent in what you're doing. It's 100%. Ways to do multiple things in the same niche. So if you are someone who has a podcast, you can make money 5 different ways from having a podcast. If you're a beauty influencer, it's 5 different ways you can make money from being a beauty influencer, because you can promote different brands. You can do, like real live reels or whatever, like makeup tutorials, whatever. You can like have the shirts, get t-shirts made for the brand, or if it's your brand, you could create a book about how to use the products. You can do a podcast on how to, become it's so many different ways within the same niche to make money, but people just are all over the place and they get frustrated because they're not yielding any results. Yeah. You have to be consistent in one thing and allow that one thing to drive traffic or drive revenue into the other things that you want to do.
Man, I think people like hear it, but they don't be hearing it, especially because it's hard being consistent.
Yeah.
Especially if there's a season where the thing you've been doing, one, you're getting bored with it.
Yeah.
And it's not working how it used to, which conversely, it comes from you not putting as much energy. It's not like the thing doesn't stop working. The thing stops working. The person typically stops working. For sure. But it's just so hard to be consistent, man. But
I think another thing is when you get like that, or you begin to feel like that, just find a way to pivot. But you can still pivot and be in the same space.
That's a fact.
That's the biggest thing. Is just because my thing is, if you did all this work, why are you going to start over in something else? Like if I've been doing taxes for 30 years, why would I start in a new profession if I've been working for the IRS for 30 years or whatever? Now I can create my own tax software or tax company or tax something in that same niche and make money on my own. So just finding a way to pivot and make a consistency. But Stephen Covey has a book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And 2 of my favorite habits, think win-win. So even if you're in a situation and it feels like a loss, or you're in a situation and you feel like you're frustrated or you can't win, think win-win, because your mindset plays a huge role into the outcome of anything that you're going to do.
100%.
So think win-win. Even if you're in a situation and it's negative or things didn't play out the way that you thought they were, think win-win, and always begin with the end in mind. You always have to begin with the end in mind. Don't think about the now. Think about, why am I doing this? Who am I doing this for? And then I think that's going to play a huge role into success that you have in anything that you do.
All right. Speaking of which, I try to have well-rounded conversations.
Okay.
What's so funny? So you are, you got kids?
I do. My daughter, she's 3.
3.
She was 3. She'll be 4. Well, I don't know when this is going to air. So she'll be 4 soon.
You still with the daddy?
Yeah.
Good. Oh, good.
Yeah.
And why am I so surprised at that?
I don't know.
You know what I mean? The fact that, really, because it's one, I guess you don't post a lot of like relationship stuff, like with your partner.
At one point I was, but then it's like sometimes like you got to keep your, private life private. But not that it's a secret. Like, that's not a secret at all.
Yeah, married?
No, we're not married.
Gotcha. So what's life like being a woman in a relationship, building a business?
Trying.
For sure.
But we figure it out. And my daughter is the reason why, when I say begin with the end in mind, she is my end in mind. Like everything that I'm doing, as tired as I did, like I said, I told David when I got here today, I said, I don't really feel well, but I said, we were supposed to do this podcast 1,000 times. I'm like, we're not going to reschedule it. And I'm leaving tomorrow to go to a real estate auction for her. Her 4th birthday is coming up, so I want to give her an investment property for her 4th birthday. Dope. So that's my goal. Yeah, so I want to go. So that's literally why I'm leaving and coming back. So I'm like, So instead of spending all this money on a birthday party or doing this, like, you know, we want to create wealth. We want longevity, begin with the end in mind. So my goal is to give her an investment property for her 4th birthday. So I'm going to the auction tomorrow. Then I'll be back for Revolt for the weekend and then just go from there.
Yeah, I really thought, because you travel so much.
Tell me about it.
Oh my goodness. What does your significant other do?
He's in the music industry as well. He works in the music space.
Oh, word.
Yeah. He like
so kind of aligns.
Yeah, we're kind of aligned. Yeah, he manages artists. He manages artists. So yeah, it works. Hey.
I tried. Almost got you.
So but he manages an artist out of Philly, Osama. He's an artist out of Philly. He's fire. Then there's another artist out of Philly. Her name is T. Marie. She's fire. Like, and I know everybody says she's fire, but no, when I say like she's really going to be up next, she's legit. Like she's really legit. So shout out to Ghetto Babies and T. Marie, Osama, PHY, and everybody out of Philly because they got some movers and shakers about to come out the city, and I love that because everybody sounds the same.
Yeah.
I'm tired of hearing about how big your booty is and how good it is. Yeah, we got something else.
100%. What's it like being an entrepreneur? I mean, I know you say it's trying, but what would you tell somebody that's in a relationship trying to make it work? It's a lot of entrepreneurs attract each other.
Yeah.
What advice would you give?
Compatibility and just being able to have that open conversation with your partner and just understand that, like, you know, we are in this together, and then that there has to be like some type of alignment, understanding that, like, you know, I'm not just doing this for me. Like, you know, sometimes I have to travel a lot. Sometimes you may have to travel a lot, but just understand that we both have the same goal in mind. Yeah. And then eventually we'll be able to relax. But right now it's grind season, it's go time. Good. And then, and kind of go from there. Like, even with me, it's so many different things coming up. Got my fingers crossed about some big contracts for Super Bowl weekend. And
real quick, side note, not to be selfish, but if I was your client like months ago, would I be involved in these plans?
For sure. Okay. For sure.
Yo, just add me in there, bro.
I know, I got you.
Hold me down.
I got you. Always, you know I do.
Yes.
You know I do. And I always, think about Dave and different things that you're doing and things that I'm doing that make sense. So for sure.
Good. Okay. Sure. All right. So lastly, are you tired?
Oh my God, extremely. I'm glad I got my good.
You are
I'm
doing
glad
a
I got.
lot.
I'm glad I got my good lash glue on today. Shout out to my makeup artist Pound, because I would be over here like my lash coming off. I'm good. I'm extremely tired. I'm extreme. Like when I literally leave here, I'm going to a podcast with my client. She's filming a podcast right now, and then I had a conference call this morning with Revolt in the car before I came in here, and then I have a conference call with a major company later on today about obtaining a contract for them becoming a vendor for something that they're doing. That's another thing that I want to really, really tap into. Like I do individual PR, but more like event PR, partnerships, like doing PR for like public relations for like the McDonald's and the Googles and the Burger Kings, and being strategic in that pitching because, Super Bowl's coming up. All-Star Weekend's coming up, Essence is coming up, and all of these companies have activations that have to happen, and they all reach out to outside companies to come in and consult. Like I had a conversation with a girlfriend of mine who works for a huge network, and she's like, okay, well, we're a net 90, they're a net 90 company. I said, damn, net 90, I wait 90 days to get paid. But, if she's like, we're net 90, but, the contract is like $750 to $2 million. So if I'm doing a $2 million net 90, you don't mind doing those type of situations if you're going to. But then when you're a smaller company, sometimes when you have net 90s, you have to be able to put the capital up first.
For sure.
You got to be able to put the money up first and then get reimbursed on the back end. So that's why I talk about the capital accessibility piece is so important because we miss out on opportunities like that. Being smaller, I don't want to, being a smaller brand, you might not have $500,000 to put up for the talent. So then you just lose that deal in its entirety. Now, everyone's not a net 90 or a net 60, but you will come across those, situations where you might not be able to take the contract because you know that realistically you're not going to be able to pay the talent right away.
For sure.
So
for sure.
It happens.
But just overall, just as a person, are you tired?
I am. But I'm tired, but I'm motivated, and I know that there's somebody out there that doesn't even know that I exist that's praying for me to see this through.
Yeah.
So that's the biggest thing for me, is knowing that what I'm doing, I'm not doing it in vain. When I talk about National Black Funding Day, when I talk about evals equity, when I talk about these things that I'm doing, I know that they're not for me. I'm just the vessel that God is using to carry out these ideas. So being that I have that mentality and I know that I'm not selfish and it's not about me, as tired as I am, I have to keep pushing, because I don't want my daughter to have to grow up in a situation where she has to figure out what she has to choose between, whether it's a job or X, Y, and Z. I want her to have those options. You know what I mean? Like I want my, being 3 and, being able to have a passport or travel or things like that. Like I wasn't allotted those opportunities as a child. Not saying that my parents didn't want to give it to me, but they may not have had the accessibility to the knowledge and things that we have. Like when I look at myself as a 33-year-old woman, I don't look at, when I my younger self, looking at myself now, when we talk about venture capital or capital accessibility or crowdfunding or, in that niche, I would have never thought that I would be in these spaces or these rooms, looking at the type of numbers and budgets that I'm in with these. It's insane. Like the fact that I'm saying I could potentially have McDonald's as a client. Yeah. The fact that I'm saying I could potentially have Burger King as a client, or Tostitos or Doritos as my client, is insane to me, because of the work that I've been able to put in, So it's just being able to be consistent. And I always say, just begin with the end in mind.
Yeah, man. 33 years old.
33.
And you're way more popular than me. This is crazy.
Oh my God, cut out.
Really? Like, she got a lot going on. You got a question? Yes. Okay. All right. Let me get the mic.
That's so funny. What is wrong with you?
Because that just hit me. I'm like, all right, I'm thinking, you young, killing it right now. I'm proud of you.
Thank you so much.
Doc, this has been very inspirational. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much.
My question is this. You have a lot of, dope collabs and partnerships going on. Let's say Dave asked a question, what does the individual have to do to be popping? My question is, a smaller brand that's just come off of a collaboration with a very well-known resort, and they want to go for another collaboration with maybe a big travel company, such as maybe Emirates or Air France. They have the ability to scale and produce. They have the funding behind them, but they don't have the eyes on them.
Reach out.
Okay.
Pitch.
Okay.
My
question is, working with someone like yourself.
I will reach out.
Okay.
I will create a capabilities deck, and I will reach out. I'm gonna tell you really quick before we wrap up. Yeah. My brain does not function like the average brain, and I know, some of the stuff that, everything for me is research based, right? I'll give you an example. I don't know if you guys remember a few months ago when
turn the mic a little bit too, just so you're speaking.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, you good.
Okay, so I don't know if you guys remember a few months ago when Beyonce was hired to perform in Dubai at that new UAE building or whatever, the new hotel that opened in Dubai, right? So everyone was so excited to see Beyonce, because this is before she went on tour. They were so excited to see Beyonce's getting paid $30 million for an hour to perform in the UAE, right? That was the big thing. But my brain was like, well, who's able to pay her $30 million for an hour? So I did the research. I went and I found the real estate firm and the company, the CEO, the COO, and the contact information for the firm that paid her. So now I have those contacts.
Why did they pay her $30 million?
Because it's Beyonce.
But still, does the ticket sales warrant a $30 million comeback?
But no, these weren't ticket sales. They paid. This was private. This was a private event.
What?
So they were opening a resort. No, this was a resort. It was a new resort. It was basically the guy. He was a South African hedge fund owner, and his dad was like a gazillionaire. And in UAE, so they have real estate in UAE, South Africa, and somewhere else over there. But they really big tycoon, and they pay her $30 million for that hour. But I was so intrigued about the headline, her being able to be paid. I'm a research person, so I want to know who is paying you $30 million per hour. So yeah, we had to pull that contact.
Goodness gracious.
So just things like that. So in a sense, I only say that to say because of what you asked on, being able to scale on something like that on a larger scale. Don't be afraid to fail. Because the biggest thing is they can say no. You can reach out to someone and say, hey, because I'm gonna tell you another thing. Companies want to save money. They want to save money. So for me, if Tostitos. So this is another way I do research. I said I want to land a big activation during Super Bowl weekend, and I am going to land a big activation during Super Bowl weekend. I'm already putting it up to God's ears. It's already going to be done, right? So I say 2022. This is some free game that I'm going to give you. It's just doing some research, right? So 2022, look up the top 10 Super Bowl commercials, right? So for me, as a publicist and someone who does activations, events, and branding, I'm looking up the top 10 Super Bowl commercials that played in 2022. So if it's Budweiser, Doritos, Tostitos, most of the time when people have those type of commercials, the type of money they pay, they're grandfathered in for like 2 to 3 years. So if Tostitos had a Super Bowl commercial in 2022, more than likely in 2023, they're going to have another Super Bowl commercial, which means if you're paying that type of money for a commercial or ads or whatever you're doing, more than likely you're going to do a branding event or you're going to do some type of activation during Super Bowl weekend, right? So, Super Bowl commercials are expensive for those 30-second slots. So if you have the money to pay for the commercial, you have the money to pay for the event. So for me, as someone who wants to come on board and consult for someone like you, in the back of my mind, you probably paid $2 million or $1 million for an activation during Super Bowl weekend. I'm going to come in, I'm going to pitch, hey, I seen that you guys did an event last year for Super Bowl weekend. It was great. My company does branding events. We'll be able to come in, provide full service execution for you guys, and we'll be able to come in under budget. I would love to hop on a call with you. Let's jump on a call. Look forward to connecting with you soon. And then the rest is...
I got this guy, David Shands, that can host it.
There it is.
Post on social media.
There it is. That's simple.
I'm just trying to help you get the gig.
That's simple.
You know what I mean?
That's simple.
This is lit. This has been a very selfish conversation for me. And I don't care. It's my podcast. It's my show.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Dr. Barnes, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Really, really good.
Appreciate it.
You're extremely professional. We need to have a conversation.
For sure.
Because I want to like publicists.
And it's crazy because it's like with David, it's so many different things like social proof snacks. Like we could do like some social proof snacks. And then all the people that have come on the show, they can have their own like different chip flavor. Like it's so many different things.
Can we do like gummies?
Yeah. Come on. Everything. It's so many different things we could do.
And I did like this whole Dorito Dave thing a couple years ago.
Okay.
But I watched.
But why Doritos when Doritos is a brand and social proof is your brand?
No, I'm just saying because it sounds cool. Dorito Dave. I love Doritos.
Yeah.
But I didn't stop because they didn't pay me. I stopped because I watched What the Health and I was like, I can't be eating this garbage. And I was going to do like Dorito celery sticks or something like that, but that was stupid. But then I was like, I'm not.
But like when you look at the brand for the social proof, like social proof is so big, like social proof kids, like you could create a social proof coloring book. So for all these different people that's around the room or all the influencers that's been on the show, create that same exact picture in black and white, put it in a coloring book. Social proof coloring book.
Write that down.
Now we're promoting it to kids. So it's just so many different things that you can do.
Yes.
It's looking right at you. Like it just
a coloring book.
Literally it's that simple for kids. Because all the people in the morning meetup, most likely all of them have kids. That's a whole nother audience that you could tap into for sure.
Yes. Okay. All right. This is exciting.
Have you ever thought about that? Social proof kids? Well,
yes, but first off, so let me show you. I'm gonna show you something real quick, but you can't talk. You can't say nothing. Well, you can say something. But this, I used to do I had like 10. I'm not gonna. I'll tell you after because I don't want nobody to take my stuff. But I'm just gonna show.
Yeah, don't do too much. But yeah, we talk about it off camera. But no, I really like the social proof kids concept. Like even if you cut to it during what you guys are doing and have two like kid entrepreneurs come on and kind of talk about what they got going on. Yeah. And even with the coloring book, you can incorporate the coloring book in with the social proof kids for them to ask like, hey, what entrepreneur is this? Or who is this? Like just identifying, who that is. There's so many different things.
And you'll market that joint, you'll get it out to the world.
There's so many different things we could do.
All right, guys, let's just get publicists, y'all.
Appreciate you guys.
And
thank you,
just
Dave.
make sure your publicist books a call with Dr. Barnes so they know what they're doing. Okay, that needs to be a service.
Listen.
Where the client listen, I got this publicist. I want to book a call. I'll pay you for them because they frustrate me.
And please just make sure they don't refer to themselves as a PR. That's the first thing.
PR.
And they don't have an honorary doctorate. Okay.
Yo, stop, man. Because I know some friends. Anyway, one last question. Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? And the only reason I'm asking you this question is because I want to be able to watch this interview 5 years from today and say, Rashae said she was going to do that.
5 years from now, what am I? 33. Okay, boom, boom. I don't want to put a number behind it because I know everybody says like financially well off, but realistically, I would just like to be known in the funding space as like one of the like go-to people in that space. But I would love to be retired.
Yeah.
Like I would love to be retired in 5 years. That would be like great.
Retired.
And
when you say retired,
like working,
I don't even think you can retire, honestly.
And when I say retired, I mean working because when I say retired, I mean working because it's fun and I want to do it, and not because I have to do it.
Yeah,
like
sure.
that financially well off to the point where I'm waking up and it's fun, and it's not, okay, we got to figure out how we're gonna do X, Y, and Z today. I don't want to do that.
I feel that I'm kind of in that same space.
Yeah.
I mean, though. I like working, but
I don't want to do it
right now.
So that's the thing. I know with me, I'm always going to be doing something. That's the thing, because my body won't allow me to not do anything. Yeah. But I don't want to do it because I have to do it.
Yes.
I want to be able to get up and be like, okay, we're going to Saint-Tropez for a couple of days and I'm out.
Yeah.
That type of situation. And the biggest thing for me in 5 years is just as long as my daughter's well off, has a hefty trust fund, then I'm cool.
Yeah, man. What, man?
One last question.
Yeah, my man. What's up?
She said she wants to be retired. She's working with some big brands, and she does also sales. I, like you, Dave, don't like PR because they always ask about the budget. Pay the budget, they don't get the results. A lot of times, that's been my experience.
Mm-hmm.
But question, the brands that you work with, do they give you points off the deal that you make for the continuation of the business? Let's say you get the skincare brand into...
Well, yeah, you would get equity. Yeah. You ask for equity.
So that's what I'm saying.
Equity stake. And I'm gonna give you something else real quick too. Another thing everybody don't notice, but like say if I got a big deal, say if I got a deal with like say if I'm working with Delta Airlines and Delta is doing a travel event for influencers, right? And they give you $1 million budget to fly 100 influencers to Jamaica. It's two ways you can make money off of that. You're already going to be getting, well, three ways. You're already going to be getting paid because they hired you as the person to do the activation, right? Then you're going to have a percentage, right? Of, so like for me, if I'm doing something like that, you're going to be getting paid from the activation itself. You're paying the influencers, but then also you're going to be working with a resort or something, right? So you'll reach out to the hotel resort and say, look, I'm going to be bringing 100 people here. These are high influential people. This is their following and the amount of da-da-da-da-da. You can potentially make a commission off of the hotel as well too, because of the amount of business that you're bringing to them. So that's a whole nother conversation.
A product that's going to be in the hotel store.
Absolutely.
For 10 years.
I just helped the client create a product for like boutique hotels. Like, when you go to the hotels and they have like soaps and stuff in the like, no one's thinking about that. No one's thinking about QVC or HSN. Everybody's on social media, but like, think about if you have 50 boutique hotels, it's 100 rooms in each hotel. You got a travel size soap or lotion in 100 rooms, and it's being turned around on a daily basis. That's a lot of money that you could potentially make.
That's
for sure.
Retirement piece.
Absolutely.
Sure. I'm thinking about that, Doc.
Got you. We'll talk.
Yeah. Anything else?
I want win-win.
Okay,
Thank you. And I love that. And I love that.
So 5 years retired.
Comfortably. I want to be comfortable. Yeah. Retired. I know retired is like cliche, but I don't want to have to work because I want to work.
Levels of comfortability.
Yeah, levels. And I want to be comfortable. I want to be posturepedic comfortable. Okay?
I like that.
Comfortable.
Cool. Look, thank you so much, man.
Thank you so much.
Please let everybody know how they can connect with you, and then take us out with a word of wisdom.
For sure. So you guys can connect with me on Instagram. My Instagram is Ms. Media Queen, so MZ Media _Queen. And then you can follow me at Evals Equity, www.evalsequity.com. BarnesMediaGroup.com. But the biggest way is my social media, Instagram, Ms. Media, MZ Media _Queen. I do reply, I do answer DMs, and then we can set up a call and kind of go from there to kind of see, what would align for your brand. But I think the biggest thing that I want to leave with today is, if you're an entrepreneur, even if you're not an entrepreneur, you're just, in the space of, feeling down or doubt or frustrated or just feeling like, why am I doing this? Because a lot of times we're doing things on a regular basis and we're not yielding the results that we want to yield. And it becomes, well, does this really make sense? Or why am I doing this? Just be consistent. Whatever higher power you believe in, keep them first, and just think win-win and go from there.
Absolutely. Listen, man, we cannot close it out no better than that. Do yourself a favor. Follow Dr. Barnes, real doctor.
He said it, not me. Okay, I'm just letting y'all know.
I don't know why I'm doing this. This is really bad because people are gonna come at me. That's crazy.
Now, when the Texas Christian people be sending me
Stop
a DM,
talking to the who's Texas Christian?
isn't that the place that gives out the? It's purple. I know it's purple.
It's a few.
Yeah. Don't listen. When
you know what? I'm about to go get me one because I want the little cool little thing.
I thought you want the regalia.
Yeah, and then we're on social media, so who knows?
Yeah, you're right. Nobody knows. You don't even go here. You don't even go here. Nobody knows.
Never been in Texas. And I'm not even a Christian. Yo, somebody that's not a Christian going, I'm a Christian, but getting the honorary doctorate from the...
That's David.
That would be hilarious.
That's David.
You don't even believe in the faith.
But you got the degree, though. Degreed up. Double D.
Man, don't mind me. All of this stuff is for entertainment purposes. Okay, so if you
no one was hurt in the process of filming.
100%, exactly. So make sure y'all go follow Dr. Barnes and make sure you get you some social proof. Meaning, go build something, but build it really, really big. And do your best to remember how you built it, how you felt when you built it, because you have to come back to your community and teach them how you did what you did. It's the only way our community grows. Okay, sure. Like, subscribe, share this with somebody. We out. Peace. If you like the video that you just watched, click this one. You're gonna like this one, maybe even more. Click it right now.